Let me just hit record here. So we're moving into the crispness, like we were talking about last week. Some of you were here that in Chinese medicine, fall is associated with the metal element, and the metal element is all about crisp and structure. And actually, one of the big things about metal season, metal element, is that it's a lot about boundaries and creating healthy boundaries, or even softening your boundaries if that's what you need to do to feel more connected. But I think for a lot of us, especially in the sort of yoga world, wellness world, our boundaries, we want to love everybody and help everybody, and we tend to like our boundaries sometimes can get broken a lot. Maybe that's not the case for you. But if it is, you could think about moving into this season and really just sort of holding that and saying no to things when you need to, and really honoring your space and your place and your heart and your body, and taking good care to do that. And we talked last week about being quiet. That's part of it too. And being quiet. And actually, it's so interesting. I love Yin Yoga and the Chinese philosophy because it makes so much sense. So we're gonna work the meridian, yin yang meridian pair, which is the long and the large intestine. They go together and they're associated with fall. And it makes so much sense because the lungs they call our most tender organs because they're really close to the surface and more vulnerable than some of the deeper visceral organs. Cats are having a moment here, sorry. So the lungs are right here and they're very close to the surface, and they're really kind of our first contact with the environment. And so it's where we receive. And then the large intestine, the colon, is where we let go. And so it makes a lot of sense that as we kind of give up the sort of busyness of fall and the harvesting of late summer, then we really think about like, okay, what I've taken a lot in, and what can I let go? It's about processing. The emotion associated with it is grief, and our ability to really be a vessel that can let it move through, that we don't push the grief or whatever we're feeling away, and we also don't hold it too tight, that we take in, we let go, we take in, we let go. And so we'll kind of practice some of that today. And we're going to start with a pranayama, actually. And we don't often do the pranayamas with the fingers because they tend to me, I like to do things a little softer in yin, but this one is perfect for metal season and fall because the large intestine meridian actually ends right here. It goes all the way, takes this whole journey like down the arms and up the neck and around the mouth, and it ends right where we put our fingers for Nadi Shodhana, for alternate nostril pranayama. And there's also something really lovely about the precision and the clarity, the almost like mathematical feeling of alternate nostril breathing. And that's really nice to bring with you into this season, a feeling of structure, of like being really clear about things. And so we'll do that. And always, as with everything, especially with pranayama, if at any point it's not suiting you, if at any point you're grasping for breath, it feels like it's not working for your body, let it go. Let it go and just breathe normally. So let your spine get really noble and tall, elegant, and let your hand come up. And so you can do the traditional way that we often do, taking the first two fingers into the palm and then using this mudra here to bring over your nose. So I could show you it's hard to do with my left hand. I'm not used to that. There you go. I'm going to mirror you. So you could do it that way. But if that feels too complicated, you could do it that way or any other way. So don't let that catch you up, the form of it. Just let it be as easy as it has to be for you. And so take a breath in, get your hand set up and take a nice deep breath in. And you can let it out through both sides. And then closing the ridge of the right nostril with your thumb, breathe in through the left side. It's a really gentle press. When you reach the top of your inhalation, everyone's different. Close both just for a moment. And then you can loosen the right side and breathe out through the right. And we'll go the opposite way. So breathing in through your right side, honoring your own lung capacity, your own rhythm. Hold at the top, and then you'll exhale through the left side. Thinking about the breath like crisp water. Breathing in through the left, you get the idea. We'll keep alternating, holding just for a moment, not too long, and then emptying through the right. And in through the right, cool, crisp, and clean. Exhaling out any cobwebs from the left, any fiery steam left over from summer, let it out. Inhaling left, you'll breathe in the crispness, cold, clean air. Let it fill you, and then let out the cobwebs, the dust, the heaviness, and the fire. Keep going like that. We'll just do it for another half a minute. And there's no hurry at all, no urgency to get there. But when you do, you'll end by exhaling out the left side. So whenever you complete that, you next exhale out the left nostril. When that happens, then you can just drop your hand and just breathe normally, a couple of breaths through both sides, crisp and cool. You might even let a little space open up underneath your armpits. And imagine your armpits breathing. We've been so into armpits lately in this class. I don't know why. But let your armpits breathe. Let the spaces between your fingers and between your toes even breathe. So think about like spring cleaning. I prefer spring cleaning in fall at this time of year, actually. And that's kind of the idea that we're going into with this Chinese philosophy, is that it's a real time of like purging and cleaning and just bringing in the fresh and letting go of the stale. And I know that's like a really cliche yoga teacher thing to say, that like let it go. It makes me almost kind of vomit when people say that all the time now. But here in this season is where it really is very appropriate. So let's start. We're going to start with banana asana. And that's the one where I said if you do have something heavy, that it would be great to have near you. But if you don't, that's totally fine too. The props are always there to support you if you need them, or to let go if you don't want them at all. And so what you do for bananas, you simply lie on your back and take your arms overhead and your legs out long, and just be like a big long, so we're a straight banana to start with. But then you're going to choose one foot, doesn't matter which one, and just slide it away from the midline, not too far. The thing that most people do is they go too far right away, but you just really only go out like 6 inches or so, and then cross the other ankle on top. And then with your upper body, just bend a little bit in that same direction. And I would say, hang back at like 80%. Don't go quite 100%. We're going to be here 5 minutes. I'll let you know when we're a couple minutes in. And if you feel like you want to bite off a little bit more, then you could adjust. But we're going really more for sustainability than we are for like big drama here. So if you have any heavy things, pillows, etc., you could put one outside your ankles or outside your arms by your forearms. Then it just provides something stable for you to have there for support, so you don't have to hold on too much. But if you don't have that or don't want that, totally okay. So you're inviting every part of yourself, every drop of water, every cell, every organ to seek the ground. To let go of any need to be buoyant or lifted, and to just drop with gravity towards the earth. When you think about metal, it's the densest of the elements. It's dense and it's quiet. It's heavy and very still. To read to you this one little thing from Rilke. It says, at no other time than autumn does the earth let itself be inhaled in one smell, the ripe earth, in a smell that is in no way inferior to the smell of the sea, bitter where it borders on taste, and more honey sweet where you feel it touching the first sounds, containing depth within itself, darkness, something of the grave almost. Mm. So we've got another 2.5 minutes, and this would be a good time to check in. Are you good here? Do you feel sensation? And if so, where? And we don't say no pain, no gain. We say no sensation, no gain. Or no pain, no pain. If you don't feel anything, you might adjust. And if you feel too much, you might adjust. And then let yourself really sink back in again. Be soft and spread out. What would it feel like to be an open channel here? To let everything move through you. Like you're the universe. You can feel the wind blow through you. The stars shine in you. Nothing permanent, everything just on its way. So the return is something that we take very seriously in Yin Yoga, that you do it with a feeling of almost like worshiping the ending of something here. And especially in metal season, it's nice to think about incorporating the idea of the element, the calm, heavy stillness of metal, and carry that with you as you transition, so that even the in between moments can all be part like a meditation. And so as you start to undo the shape, do so in a way that honors those qualities of quiet, noble stillness. And you could take your knees. One option for a counter pose is to bring your knees into your hands, one knee into each hand, and to circle your knees around. They can go any direction they feel inspired to go, the same direction, different directions, figure eights, anything at all. But this is one idea of a rebound you could take. But if your body is calling you to do something else, or even just to lie there, you do that. Okay, you've got a whole minute here to wash that one off. Metal, thinking about how metal's something that comes from the earth, right? It's like this precious thing buried inside the earth. And it made me think about essentialism and what things are precious to me that are worth taking with me into hibernation, that are worth taking with me into the new season, the new year. So let's take the other side if you feel ready, if you feel like you need a little more time to let the echo of that last pose fade, please take your time. Otherwise, you can do the same thing on the other side. And I didn't mention, I should have, but that heavy thing that you might have, you could also put it on your outer hip. It could be a nice weight there to help ground you. And so you'll make your banana shape by sliding one foot over, crossing the other ankle on top. Arms will bend in the same curve like a little crescent moon. And then breathing right down into your bone marrow and let the bones get so heavy. Let the bones loosen from each other and sink into the earth. 5 minutes here. You can imagine as you breathe in, you take in that crisp air like you're drinking from a mountain stream. Let it water your whole body. And as you exhale, imagine it sinking down to the bottom of you, as if your back body, the whole back of you, is like the bed of your river. It seeps down and into the earth. And when you breathe in again, crisp and cool. And there's no holding anything. You just let it all go when it needs to go down through the belly organs, down into the each breath. You might feel yourself becoming even more soft and spread out. About halfway now. If you're good here, you stay. If you need to adjust, you can always. And good to mention too, if you feel any tingling in the arms or shoulders, you could always come out and move around and then come back in. As you take the last minute here, keep allowing every part of you to descend, to yield to gravity. Let it be like liquid in your bones, liquid in your cells, all seeking the lowest place. Be thinking about coming out of the pose before you do. And then you can let the body follow the mind and start to undo the shape, staying in the feeling of metal elements, so staying still and slow and heavy. You could bring the knees in like we did before, hug them and move them in circles. And feeling, it's such a lovely thing, that feeling when you come out of the pose, the resolution. We don't get a lot of resolutions in this life, do we? Things that just finish and tie up in a bow. So notice that. Notice the sensation that rose to a peak and then it was gone. And then you could go ahead and set up for the next one, which will be a child's pose with a twist. So both of the meridians that we're working are centered in the chest and the belly and the arms. One comes up from the pointer finger up through the arm this way, it crosses over the elbow and it comes around, and the other one comes up the other side of the arm. So child's pose with a twist. You can have your knees any amount apart or together as you like. If your seat needs some support behind you, you could stick a pillow or blanket or anything between your heels and your butt. You could slide one arm, you choose whichever one, under the other one. And your head might look to the side. You might turn it down towards the floor and rest it on your other arm. And this other arm, by the way, so you can do a couple of different things with it. One is that you could just let it rest kind of in front of you, almost like a regular child's pose. Another is you could wrap it. And maybe you do that for a minute or so, and then you might take it out if you need to and let it rest. Okay, but if you find somewhere else to put it that feels good and therapeutic for you, please do, and know that you can always change your mind. And so you do any amount of shifting, wiggling, and snuggling to fit yourself in this one, like you're putting on your favorite pair of cozy socks. And then a big exhale when you feel like you really arrived. Let yourself really just drop in. For this one will be 4 minutes on each side. Another lovely quality of metal is that it can be transformed many, many times over without ever losing its integrity. And our body mirrors that. Every day you lose 50,000 skin cells. Every 2 to 5 weeks, your whole entire skin, the whole outline of your body renews itself. How many times have you become new again? You notice your mind gets busy with thoughts, past or future musings. Come back to that idea of being an open channel where everything is welcome, but nothing has to stay. You can just thank every thought for sharing its life with you and let it pass on by like a cloud. So, as we prepare to come out of this one, I invite you to explore a little more yang movement, perhaps some cat cows or even a downward dog to get the legs a little long and breathing, but to do it in a very metal, heavy, quiet kind of a way, in a very noble way where you're always kind of a little bit of you is still in almost shavasana. You're like 15% in shavasana and the rest of you moving. And then you can come into your child's pose with a twist on the other side. But as always, you're honoring your own process here. So, do you feel like you've sufficiently washed the echo of that last one off? And when you do, then you can take the other side and you snuggle your way in, kind of fit right into it. See if you can be really at home in your body, even just for a breath would be a win. Notice the solid structures of your body, the bones. Can your bones soften? Can they exhale? Can you breathe right into the caves of your bones? And imagine your bones just moving away from each other. And then in those spaces between the bones moves the breath like crisp, clean mountain stream water. Let it wash through the spaces between your bones. Last minute here, can you just check in and notice where you feel the most sensation? Where is the epicenter of it? And what's the quality of it? Do you have a temperature? Does it feel fast or slow, achy or sharp? And wherever it might be that you find that intensity of feeling, could you imagine internally just leaning into it a little? Staying with the quality, the meditative quality of stillness, calm. You can start to undo the shape, bring the arm out, and just like before, you might either move around a bit on hands and knees, or maybe you take downward dog and let your legs breathe. If anything else is calling you, be it stillness or be it movement, you honor that call. Be your own best teacher here. Into our next pose is going to be really close to the ground, the broken wing pose. And a few weeks ago, I keep thinking about this. I find it so amazing about how animals in the wild, when they're wounded or injured, how their natural inclination is to curl up on the ground, and how science has proven that when any living being, including us, does that, the bioelectricity in our superficial fascia, right underneath our skin, it it actually grounds like plugging into an electrical socket. We ground our electricity, and inflammation leaves the body like magic, but it's not. So let's do that, okay? So come onto your belly for this one. I can't believe it's dark already. I'm gonna have to start turning lights on. It's so weird. So on your belly, and you have one arm, any one you choose, stretched out to the side, palm down, other arm beside you next to your chest. You can turn your head towards your bent arm, and you'll bend that same leg knee and just roll over the edge of your body. You can step that foot behind you, and some people like a pillow for the head here, could be nice. For some people, this doesn't feel like much. If that's the case, pick up that bottom arm, scoot it a little bit further out, see how that feels. And for some people, this feels like too much. And if this feels like too much, you can do it at a wall. You can just sit facing away from a wall like so. And then you could just turn your body in tiny increments and do it seated. So take a shape that fits you and is where you could make a home. We've got 5 minutes here. If you need to come out at any point, honor that need. If your arm falls asleep, you can come out and shake it around. So feeling all the parts of you that touch the earth, and imagining the fever and the heat, any inflammation. Imagine it just leaving, just draining out of you. And wherever there was that sort of stinging fire of inflammation, now there's the mysterious coolness of yin. Breathing out fever and inflammation, sharpness, and breathing in cool mystery. So I invite you, if you feel like you need to adjust, deepen, or to lessen sensation, please do. And check in with your own personal places where you hold your stuff. Right? Maybe it's the jaw or the belly. Maybe it's in the hands, the upper back. Just notice and soften. And, even if you just soften 5 or 10%, that's great. One more minute and a half here. Just see if there's resistance anywhere, defensiveness. What might it be like to be undefended and not resisting? And it might not be possible, and that's okay. Staying in that space, a deep, cool mystery. Low and slow, you could start to bring yourself back. See where the body wants to land here. Might be on the belly or might be in a child's pose. Any other shape you feel called into. And you can just rest and you don't have to fill it. No filling the space with anything. Just let there be space. And you're noticing What does the echo of that shape feel like now? Is it getting far away? Is it lessening? And if it is, you could start to move into the other side. And if you need another bit of time, take some time. There's never any hurry here. Take as long as you need to find the shape. You could take the whole time just to find the shape. If you do find a place to snuggle in, then you could really let yourself come home to your bones, come home to the earth. Yin is so lovely because we can practice caring instead of rushing and honoring the preciousness of this body, all the layers of it, every bit. Can you feel your bone layer like crystal, your structure? Let it breathe and let it empty. And feel your water layer, all the fluids of you. Breathe into it. And as you exhale, let it seek the earth, let it sink down low. And can you feel the cloud layer of you, that soft fascia right underneath your skin, like a lining of puffy clouds that covers your whole body? Breathe into that. And let your cloud layer get really soft and exhale. Soft and spread out for one more minute here. Letting all parts of you seep back into the earth. Giving yourself one more check in here. How's the jaw, the belly, the throat, the feet? Let it all soften. And then start to bring it back home. Notice every little sensation on the way back, welcoming all of it, just an open vessel for everything to move through. Another quality of metal is it can be made, shaped to hold things, right? It can be shaped into a bowl to hold water. Imagine yourself holding all the water of you. Maybe it sloshes around, or maybe it just seeps down towards the earth, the low place. For the grand finale here, we'll take a caterpillar. That's the seated forward fold. I would suggest having some props here, maybe something to sit on, maybe something, a block or pillow between your legs. I have to turn my lights on. I can't believe how dark it got. Hang on one second. Okay. There, we got a little light. So taking your prop perhaps either between your legs if you have blocks, on your legs if you've got bolsters or pillows, you could do like so. You could even open your legs a little wide so the bolster could be in between and you can lean on it if the legs feel really far away. Do it like this, right? As long as you're feeling something, you're doing it right. But this is more about the spine than the legs also, and so really the idea is that we do get rounded here and let your chin drop if that's comfortable and let yourself just be in a state like you're just a soft hill and letting go of any gripping, managing, hugging the muscles to the bone. Just let that go. Let them fall right off the bones. Let your hands be soft. Let your arms drop. Yeah. And if at any point you need more support or less, you can change your props. But you're trying to let go of any doing and instead undo. Let the knots untangle. Perhaps with each breath, you could allow yourself a little more permission to soften into it. Moving from bottom to top, from feet to head, bones to skin, back. Check in with every little nook and cranny, every little hidden spot, and invite all parts of you to drop towards the earth. Nothing resists or gets left out. Every part gets breathed into, loosened off the bone. and falls like a leaf from a tree. Just let your leaves fall. Last few moments here. Feel like you're able to, maybe 5% more. You loosen muscles from bones. 5% more you drop. Might help to inhale, and as you exhale, just take a really soft ah sound. Staying very quiet and calm, heavy and slow. Make your way out. And check in to see what your body might crave at this moment. I'm going to end up in Shavasana, so you could go right there. But if your body needs any other counter posing, honor that. You could bring your props, put under you or on top of you. Feel the weight of your body on the earth. Feeling of the weight of you and the preciousness of you and the preciousness of this moment. It will never come again. Imagine like a leaf that falls from a tree and it starts to get reabsorbed back into the earth, disintegrating. Can you imagine your bones loosening from each other, and limb by limb you get reabsorbed back to the earth? begin to call the body back. But if you prefer, you stay and take a long extended Shavasana. You don't need to rush out of it for us. If you do feel like you're ready to come out, you can begin to invite some movement and start to call yourself back little by little, staying true to those qualities of stillness and calm, calm nobility. You might come up to sit, and if you'd like to share Om with me, we can chant. And you can always, from wherever you are, just listen or chant along from home. Om. Thank you, my friends.